Hello, everyone. Nice to be here once more. Today is actually the week 3 for the Energy JIIPCC Mentorship Program. I'm very excited to be anchoring today's session. Hopefully, we'll be joined by the other moderator for the program. Very quickly, I'm sure we are all ready for today. Welcome to everyone, to all our mentees, and of course, who are already here. I can see that Mr. Alexander has actually been prepared and available for over an hour before now. Thank you so very much. Very quickly, I would love to introduce myself. My name is Obu Joseph. I'll be moderating today's session. I know that much of us might have one or two things to say in terms of questions along the line as we proceed. So I'll quickly want to take, okay, Kanyisola. Okay, it's good to have you here. So definitely, it's obvious that we'll be working together today. So thank you so very much for being available as well. Mr. Husseini is not here at the moment. So hopefully once he comes in, we would also acknowledge him. So about the program, I'm sure that most of us already have that part of the about the program. So basically, JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program is a quarterly mentorship program for students and young professionals across Africa. Mentees are afforded the opportunity to access valuable intellectual property, advice, training, mentorship, networking, discussion forums, update, resource materials from experienced mentors who actually showcase and provide information, up-to-date information about the sector-related activities. So basically, the program seeks to encourage continuous learning, training, development, and evolution in Nigeria and, of course, Africa and the world. You can definitely watch the videos of other sessions just look for JIIPCC on YouTube and Facebook, and be sure that you will have all the information that you need about the session we're having today and previous ones. So the objectives, one is to provide easy access, guidance, training, and resource materials for students and young professionals in Africa, to facilitate dialogue, to network amongst experienced and less experienced practitioners and stakeholders. The third objective is to transform mentees into mentors and leaders for the next generation. And finally, to facilitate further mentorship, internship, scholarship, and job placements for mentees. So you can see that the program is actually power-packed in the benefit of our mentees. So I would like to also quickly go through the profile for our mentor today. Just give me a moment. All right, that's also coming up. So we have Mr. Alexander Olatunde Akolo. We are very pleased to have you here today. And of course, our topic today has to do with renewable energy and climate change. We can see all that has been happening across the world in the past couple of weeks. So very quickly going into his reading the profile. Alexander is a dedicated professional with demonstrated experience in regulatory compliance, government relations, contracts administration, and settlements, negotiations, research, and reportage in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. He has recently joined Nextia Power, a subsidiary of Nextia Group, as an energy consultant. Prior to this role, Alexander was a regulatory affairs and government relations manager at Nigeria's largest electricity distribution company, Ibadan Electricity Distribution, that's Ibadan Disco PLC. Alexander has deep knowledge on the plethora of regulations and directives in NESI. He worked as a technical assistant, Bureau of Trade and Investment, and a contracts management analyst at the Embassy of Brazil and the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC, respectively. Alexander is about to complete his doctorate of philosophy degree in energy studies, renewable energy finance from the prestigious University of Ibadan. He also holds an MSc Energy Studies degree from the University of Ibadan and a BSc Economics degree from the University of Jos. He has attended several energy conferences within and outside Nigeria. He's a member of the Nigerian Association of Energy Economics, NAFE, and Global Association of Risk Professionals, GAP, Society of Petroleum Engineers, and the Energy Institute. You are so very welcome, Mr. Alexander. We are very pleased to have you onto this platform. So very quickly, I'll be taking the announcements as we go on today, but I want us to quickly dive into today's presentations. I believe that the presenters for the respective groups are actually prepared to proceed. So I'll be calling on Group 1 immediately to take the floor and to proceed with their presentation. Thank you very much. Is Group 1 presently available, and is your backup online? Oh, David, I can see already sharing your screen. That's very nice. So I will cede the floor to you so you can actually proceed. Thank you very much. You have 8 minutes, 8 to 9 minutes. Once it's 7 minutes, I'll prompt you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible. Am I audible, please? Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon,
yes,
we
can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David, and I will be presenting on behalf of Group 1. And our
Group 1,
topic
we can actually hear you. We can hear you, Mr.
Can you hear me better now?
David?
Can you hear me better
Can you? Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. My presentation is on behalf of Group 1, and we are presenting on the topic, the renewable energy industry. And in 8 minutes or less, we would be discussing the renewable energy industry, and as a collective effort with all my group members, this presentation was put together. The outline of this presentation is number 1, introduction, sources of the renewable energy. We're going to be looking at the benefits, the disadvantages, legislation on renewable energy in Nigeria, using Nigeria as a case study jurisdiction. We're going to look at the regulatory bodies, all those for the sustainability of renewable energy in Nigeria, and steps to overcome these hurdles to allow renewable energy plants work in Nigeria. And I would go further by observing all protocols and also moving on. First of all, what is renewable energy? Renewable energy, or any form of energy, it can be classified into renewable and non-renewable. And its classification is based or derived from natural resource. That is, it's the source for which the energy can be derived from, whether or not it can be replenished in itself, in higher rates than which it was consumed. And so renewable energy sources are, as you can take a cue from that, are energy sources that are from natural resources that can be replenished at a higher rate from which they were consumed. Sources of renewable energy, we have solar, which has to do with the sun. We have geothermal, we have wind, biomass, hydropower, hydrothermal, ocean wave, hydroelectric, etc., etc. Now let's look at the first one, solar energy. And just as you can see on the screen, solar energy, just as the sun is shining around, wherever you might be in Nigeria, is one of the most abundant source of energy because it's gotten from the sun. And so photovoltaic panels are created, is a form of technology that allows these panels to draw the radiation gotten from the sun and convert it into electricity or convert it into power or any source of energy that it could be used for. And so they capture these radiation and convert it to power or electricity. As you can see on the screen, this is an example of a solar farm. Is a solar farm that is solar panels, all over, a piece of land that generates electricity and is converted into power. Now, the next one is hydropower. Hydropower is, technology that is used, in hydropower plants. It basically draws energy from the movement of water. And so the movement of water from high points to low points. As you can see on the screen, you can see modern day dams. So movement of water from high points, into lower points, it generates power. It generates electricity or generates power for whatever use it might be for. The next one is biomass. Biomass is basically, a form of renewable energy that's gotten from organic resources. So it could be from municipal waste, it could be from agricultural waste, it could be from animal residue, it could be from forest residue. And so it is the conversion of all of this residue into, energy, produced into energy. This is an example of, of a biomass plant. Next one is hydrothermal. Hydrothermal is basically, speaking simply, is a form of technology that is used to, generate electricity from the geothermal energy in the earth interior. And so as you can see in the diagram here, you can see that, under the earth, you can see hot water, hot rock, you can see magma. And so there is a turbine, there's a generator that gets energy resources from, that gets steam, gets all of these energy from the earth interior and converts it into a form of energy. The next one is ocean wave, which is mostly theoretical, but it's just a form of wind energy that converts energy from ocean waves, as you can see in the diagram. In the course of time, I'll be looking at wind energy, which is basically ridiculously large fans that are placed in strategic positions where there is wind coming, and so it converts the wind through all of these fans and converts it into energy. Moving on, benefits. Now, the plan in the world is to reduce global emission to about 1.5 degrees Celsius, and for this to be achieved, because of the rate of climate change and also because of global warming, depletion of the ozone layer, the renewable energy industry is one that has to be taken keen attention to. So, in order to reduce global warming, we need to look at renewable energy sources because we need reduction of greenhouse gases, and also carbon emission from fossil fuels, natural gas, coal, etc. Improve public health because fossil fuels are non-renewable energy. They consume, they emit a lot of carbon and also which cause air pollution, water pollution, for example, oil, as you can see in Nigeria, in the Niger Delta area, and also stable energy prices. For example, because of the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, there is large, there is a large crash in the energy industry. And because of reasons like this, that's why the renewable energy industry is looked at because, it's not really controlled by any economy, but as far as you can see, the sun is shining, you can get water move from high point to low point, etc. Moving on, we have disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is the problem of supply. For example, Germany relies on renewable energy about 40 to 50% on wind and solar panels. But you can see that remaining 50 to 60%, they still have to rely on non-renewable energy because of the supply of renewable energy cannot meet the demand that is needed to be met by these countries, and that's one of the disadvantages of renewable energy. There is yet to be technology that is sufficient to meet with the demand based on based on the supply of renewable energy. And we can also see that renewable energy can be unreliable. If the sun is not shining, the solar panels cannot work. If winds are not blowing, wind farms cannot work. If in the earth interior you cannot get the biomass produced, etc. I'll quickly look at legislations. We have several legislations. We have the Constitution, item 15 of the concurrent list in Nigerian Constitution, I think Schedule 2, if I'm not mistaken, gives power to the federal government to for electricity generation, but where the federal government or the national grid does not cover, state also has power has power to create grids to generate electricity. We also have the electric EPSRA, Electric Power Sector Reforms Act. We have the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment Act 1992. We have the Climate Change Act, which is a recent act that looks at policies and plans that incorporate both the public and the private industries and sector and stakeholders to reduce climate change and to ensure there's reduction in climate change and also reduce carbon emission. I've explained the Constitution, the EPRSA, basically NEPA with NERC, and they look at regulations based on licensing transmission power in Nigeria. Because of the NEMSA, this is Nigerian Electricity Management Service team. But for better understanding, I will go straight to the agencies. You can see here we have the NERC, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, They were established in 2015 where they replaced NEPA. It's basically the technical arm or the entity responsible for coordinating power generation, transmission in Nigeria, renewable energy plans and programs. You have to meet with the framework and the commitment the Nigerian government has made to the global reduction of carbon emission. We also have the NESRIA, which was in 2007, in order to comply with environmental laws, reduce air pollution, water pollution, etc. We have the NEMC, NEMSA, we have the Energy Commission of Nigeria, we have the TCN, and we also have the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Tracts in buying large, bulk purchases of electricity and then distributing it to several discos throughout Nigeria. So they're like an intermediary between transmission and distribution. Now, what are the odds to sustainable use of energy in Nigeria, renewable energy in Nigeria? Number one is socio-political behavior. Since the 90s, I said since the 90s, a long time ago, in I can't remember the particular year now, oil has been discovered in Nigeria. And so there are reliance on non-renewable energy. And so, for us to transition into a renewable energy plan, you can see that there will be, a great hurdle in achieving that in Nigeria. Scarcity of investment. There is a dearth of investment in renewable energy plants, in creating the solar panel that is durable ones, not the cheap ones, in achieving land windmills. A lot of investment has to be put in place for all of these to be achieved in order to meet the demand needed. High cost of equipment, also lack of technological know-how. As you can see, Nigeria is behind on reaching the technological know-how in achieving renewable energy sources, the technology for biomass, for hydrothermal, for ocean wave energy, etc. What are the steps to ensure smooth transition? We need equipment subsidization, as I just said. We need to create an investor-friendly environment to allow people to invest in our renewable energy plans. We have companies like ShopRite, for example, in South Africa, that it's created in such a way that they can take green loans. Green loans is in such a way that they are loaned large amount of money, but they are to ensure that their products and things that they produce, is less carbon emitting and is in a cleaner form of energy. All this kind of funding and all this kind of plans would be needed for renewable energy plan in Nigeria, for the renewable energy industry in Nigeria. But finally, I would be closing with this comment on research. I'll be just opposing renewable energy industry in Germany and also France. Germany relies on solar panels and they rely on wind farms 40 to 50%. But France depends on nuclear energy. Renewable energy industry is the solution to climate change, is the solution to reducing carbon emission, is the solution to reducing flood, as we can see in Nigeria, as we are being affected by all of these things. But most times, the renewable energy industry does not take cognizance to nuclear energy. And this is because of Chernobyl and all of these events in the past that nuclear energy has destroyed plants and destroyed the environment. But the truth is, nuclear energy can be a form of renewable energy in the sense that it can reduce carbon emission. It has one of the lowest carbon footprint amongst other energy sources in in the world. And also in the sense that by focusing on nuclear power plants, we can decommission nuclear weapons. And also, finally, if you want to create a solar farm, you need a lot of vegetation. Windmills according to research, they have record of killing taking away large amounts of vegetation, killing rare species of birds, bats, etc., which is bad for the ecosystem. And so, as you can see, countries like Germany still have to rely on Russia for non-renewable energy sources. And I think if there can be a diversification from not just biomass or solar or wind, but also into nuclear energy and other sources, the renewable energy source industry can actually provide the solution for the world. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you very much for that amazing presentation. Before I call on before we carry on, I would like to quickly read out the announcements that we have. before group 2 comes on. So the first announcement is that this session is ongoing. So if you would have a course you want to take next session or next year, then please, you can start registering now. Also, we also have available 30 minutes of private mentorship with your mentors in order to get to know your mentors better. If you have questions for the mentors that you cannot ask on this platform, or you want to get to know your mentors better, that is for you. And then you're please encouraged to put on your videos because we are live streaming, and please edit your name session so they can carry your full name. Also, there's also a registration going on for the end of the year party for people that live in Abuja and Lagos, Nigeria. And then all groups are encouraged to start working on their week 8 awareness program. Now, group 2, you have 8 minutes for your presentation. So please, group 2, take 5 minutes. Group 2, are you ready, please?
I'm sure group 2 is cooking something really delicious in terms of their intellectual addition to the discussion today. So maybe that's what's really taking some time. Group 2, we are waiting on you to bring it on. Thank you so much. Is Victoria online? Victoria, I can see you are here. Are you having any difficulties? Azomta, Victoria, are you having difficulties sharing your screen? If you can put in a word, it will be nice. Our mentor is actually here. He's been here for hours before we actually commenced today. So it would be nice to place value on his time. Okay, so what I think basically is that while Group 2 is trying to figure it out, we can invite our mentor to give comments on the first presentation. Hopefully that would afford Group 2 time to get it all sorted. Mr. Alexander, please, you are welcome to take the floor to provide your comments on the first presentation. Thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Joseph. And mentees, good afternoon. Happy to meet you guys. Olu, I think the name of the presenter for the first group was Olu. I don't know if I'm right. Yeah, Olu David. Yeah, so I must commend your presentation. I enjoyed it. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Oreolua. Okay, his name is Oreolua. Okay, good. So, Ore, I enjoyed your presentation. Very articulate. I love the pictures. I love the presentation. Yes, and there are some points I noted. First of all, your presentation slides were too wordy. Yes, I mean, I don't know the level you are at right now, but presentation slides are not supposed to be so wordy. I mean, yeah, just few words as much as possible. You talk more and read less. Yes, so it was really interesting. So I just have a few comments. I really liked the fact where you talked about the hurdles about renewable energy. You touched on sociocultural issues. You touched on the JIIPCC, really very good, the technical barriers as well. And there's also the political and the regulatory side of it, where policies, there is a mismatch between the policies. We have lots of policies for renewable energy in Nigeria. We have the Rural Education Policy of 2005. We have the Renewable Energy Master Plan 2012. We have the RECIP 2016. Sustainable Energy for All policy, there are lots of them, but there is no harmonization amongst these policies. So another factor, I mean, I also like the fact you also talked about the technical side of it. Yes, that is really interesting. There is a depth of technical expertise for renewable energy in Nigeria. Anybody can just go and install a solar panel or a solar plant. There are no standards. It's just now that NEMSA is trying to put in standards for the solar industry. You have to be certified with them, right? But it's still not yet a law. Exactly. So law really is really important as well. So if there's a law that mandates every operator or an installer or licensee to be certified, let's say by NAPTEN or by NEMSA, to really go a long way in ensuring standardization. Yes, so very interesting. But one of the things I noted from your presentation that was a little bit, that was out, you did not give us, you did not touch on the application of renewable energy in Nigeria. You talked about it and all that, but for the application, like solar is being applied in mini grids or solar home systems. You didn't talk about it or give us examples of where some of these renewable energy projects, if at all they really exist, are currently in the country. So I know you said something about the tidal energy for renewable. You said it's hypothetical. That was very good. But you have solar in the country. You didn't tell us where you have these solar installations, maybe what size they are, where they are being installed, and the rest. So these are a few of my observations. Can you share your screen? Go back to where you talked about NEC and what NEC does. Can you just do that briefly? Okay, so the second line, the NEC can basically be regarded as the administrative technical arm of the Federal Ministry of Power. No, that is incorrect. That is incorrect. NEC is a regulator. It's not administrative, it's not technical. So if you look at the ESPRA, the Electric Power Sector Reform Act 2005, it tells you what NEC does. NEC is a regulator. They give licenses to operators, distribution licenses, transmission license, trading license, and also generation licenses. So they are not an arm of the Ministry of Power. It's an independent body and is a regulatory agency. So yeah, this is incorrect. So also I like the question you posed about nuclear power. That was really interesting because actually I had a question for you as well. The question I had for you is let me try and answer your own question. You are advocating for nuclear power in Nigeria. See what is happening with the dams. See what's happening with the dam. See the flood that's taking over Nigeria right now. Nigeria does not have a culture to take care of things. And that's why I'm afraid of nuclear power generation. In this year alone, we've had over 30 system collapses of the national grid. Do you think with the current structure, with the current level of manpower, that in nuclear plants will be efficiently and effectively managed? That is the question I'm posing back to you. Then another question I have for you is this. We are advocating for renewable energy in Nigeria, which is good. But Nigeria has coal, massive deposit of coal in Kogi State, massive deposit of coal in Enugu State. Why can't we do coal? Why must we do solar? Why must we do wind? Is it because it's clean? Is it because the West has told us that it's clean? So this is just a question for you to think about. Personally, I believe countries should make use of whatever resources they have. I've forgotten the principle in law that they call that. So renewable energy is good, but I also believe that people should make use of what they have. So those are my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Council, are you there presently? But before you respond, I'm thinking right now that we have one of the presenters for Group 2 is not in the state to present, and I think someone else was given that responsibility. Can you, or is Group 2 ready? Is a representative of Group 2 ready for their presentation? Mr. Alexander, thank you so very much for your feedback on the presentation from Group 1. It was very enlightening, and also thank you for responding, or better yet, correcting some of the aspects of the presentation in the interest of everyone trying to also learn as well. Mr. Ore, it was a very wonderful presentation, so thank you so much. I also loved your presentation style, and I think it was a very good one. So I wouldn't know if Group 2 is ready. Is Group 2 ready?
Very well, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
All right, go ahead, Victoria.
Okay, very quickly. We appreciate our speaker for speaking, and our topic is, please volume, ma'am. Our topic is climate change. Okay, let me quickly share the screen. But while I share the screen, let's manage our time. What's climate change? From the name climate and change, it relates to our environment. It relates to our environment. It relates to, okay, can anybody help me share, please? Can anybody help me share, please?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm trying to put that share.
Yeah, can anybody help me share the screen?
Victoria, can you hear me? I said I'm trying to help you share.
Okay, comfortable enough. Okay. As she's doing that, let me just move quickly. Climate change is our environment changing. You will all agree with me, the way our environment was 1960 is not the way it is 2022. And the way our temperature is then, the way our temperature is, okay, this is the article. I'm talking about the slide there, thank you. Okay, and the way our environment, even the air we breathe, the water, the sea levels, everything is not how it is now. So when they say change, that means there's something that has changed. Do you understand? And what has changed is our climate. And if you notice, when you keep like plastic buckets outside for too long, when you just touch them or break them a bit, it just pieces. And you notice that we have hotter temperatures now. Why? Because that shield that covers us on Earth is already depleting. Ozone, it's called ozone layer, is depleting. And it affects everybody. It affects every living organism on Earth. It affects the plant. It affects we humans. It affects the animals, even in the sea. That's how bad climate change is. And it's so sad that people will prefer making more money than actually treating the issue of climate change, in the sense that they prefer burning more fossil fuels than using renewable source of energy. And I appreciate Group 1 speaker. He has done quite fairly, very good justice to renewable energy. And we know renewable energy like the solar, the wind, a lot of things, that's biomass, they are renewable energy, as the Group 1 speaker rightly said. But when you use fossil fuels, like imagine you driving your car and that smoke, it affects our environment, it affects the health. And a lot of things, like the recent flood that is happening, the recent flood happening in Abuja Road and even in the north, displacement of individuals, that's a result of climate change. Because one of the causes of climate change is increase in sea level, increase in ocean level. That is one of the effects of climate change. It's because of climate change that the sun is hotter, and when the storm wants to come, it comes hotter, and our ground is not strong. Our ground is not solid because we have drilled a lot of things, and it affects the climate change. As she's getting the slide, I'm grateful for it. I want to pick up a scenario in Nigeria. Those abroad, I'm so sorry, let me use Nigeria to bring out this issue. If you come to Nigeria, places like Niger Delta, where you see oil and gas drilling, offshore and onshore, you see that their air is polluted. There's something we call corrugated roof sheet. It will be depleting. That's if the sun, when sun is hitting, that's if the sun is hitting in their houses. What they breathe in pollution. The water they drink is polluted because the oil, everything, the spillage. So it affects their land, it depletes their environment. So you say, okay, these people are oil rich, but environmentally, it's to their detriment.
Okay.
That's one example.
Sorry to bother you. Sorry to bother you, Victoria. Due to the fact that we've taken a while to get certain things started for Group 2, our mentor may have some engagement. So if you don't mind, if you can use the next 3 minutes to just wrap up on the presentation, so that he can comment on it, then we can take questions.
1 minute, please. Let's just
1 minute.
Yeah.
All right.
1 minute.
All right.
Thank you, sir, for the grace. I'm grateful. And I want to say solution without saying the issue. The solution is climate change. There's something called action to change. You can change it. It starts from me and you. Let's start using renewable source of energy. Let's move away from deforestation, cutting of trees, to planting trees. Like in every compound, let there be planted trees. Climate change is possible. Let's educate ourselves. Let's educate others. Let's act as role models. Let's act as examples. Let's invest. Let's contribute to any organizations, NGO that are into this.
Thank you.
Hello, am I audible enough?
Thank you, Victoria. It's fine.
And when we see anything like illegal mining that is combusting the air, all those industries that are close to residents and they are causing air pollution, let us bring them to order. Yes, it's very possible. The society belongs to me and you. If the sea is polluted, there's no fish again in the market. If the grass is polluted, these animals eat this thing and we are affected. If the weather is polluted, we are also polluted. We are open to skin cancer, eye contact issues, skin diseases, and all the rest. For the information, let me round up here. Thank you so much for the time and the grace.
All right. Victoria, you've done excellently well. Without the slides, you've been able to touch on some issues. Thank you so much. Mr. Alexander, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obvious they were not prepared. They're supposed to have presented a slide, and instead they didn't do that. Also, what was shared was an article. So this group did not, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't do a good job. They were also not able to coordinate themselves in order to get, they couldn't put the house in order. Yes, so this is just my comment. But even also looking through the slides, I didn't see anything about adaptation and mitigation strategies. So these are just my comments. Thank you.
All right. So if you don't mind, I know that you have to be in a meeting very quickly. We have a few questions. So if you don't mind, kindly take the questions so that our mentor can respond to them in real time.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. It appears that Kanye Sola is she's not available right now. Okay, then I think we can take live questions. Does anybody have a live question so that we can just proceed from there? Anyone that wants to ask a direct question to the mentor? Is there anyone with a live question?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Although I'm going to make a research on the other question you posed about coal in Nigeria and how a country should use the resources they have. But speaking based on the realities of the environment and the effect of climate change, the ozone layer, are you implying that coal might be a bit clean in comparison to the other solutions that we have, sir?
No. I know coal is dirty. Of course, I know coal is dirty, but I mean, what I'm just saying is that we don't even have power right now. So why are we being selective? I mean, you've not eaten, you're so hungry, you've not eaten, but you are selecting that you don't want EBA. Or, I don't know, let me use another meal. So at this point, we are desperate. That is the message I'm saying. I know coal is dirty, but what I'm just saying is there's no energy. Right now in your house, you have power. Right now, even in my office, the generator is on. So that's the point I was trying to raise.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alexander. Is there any other live question? Any other live question? Anyone else with a live question? So if you don't mind, I'll just quickly want to take 2 questions each. We have 4 questions in all. I'll take 2 questions together. You respond. I take another 2 questions together. You respond. Then we can wrap up for today. So the first question is there any sustainability? Is there any sustainability of a renewable energy plan in Nigeria, given how expensive it could be? That's question 1. 2 is, what will be the fate of the fossil fuel industry if the world eventually goes fully into renewables?
Thank you for that question. To answer your question, there are lots of, as I said, there are lots of plans in Nigeria. There are lots of plans, renewable energy plans. There are a lot of them, but and a lot has been done in the renewable energy space, in the area of mini grids and solar home systems. Right now in the international space, we know that the cost of, let's say, solar is beginning to dip a little bit, and due to R&D, research and development. And so the high cost of solar is beginning to dip. Also, cost of batteries as well is beginning to go down. So I think this will make some of these things, some of the components sustainable. But when you talk about sustainability, many of the projects in Nigeria have not yet attained sustainability because of some of the problems we raised earlier. If you go and check a mini grid that was installed, let's say 2 years ago, for some of them, they already packed up. So there needs to be a plan to ensure that these projects continue to see the light of day, because many of them are just, some of them are just done haphazardly, and they were not properly constructed. For the second question, at the back of my mind, I don't think it's possible for the world to be totally free of fossil fuels. I need to go. probably another time, please. I need to go. I need to go.
All
Yeah, thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Mr.
All right.
Alexander, thank you very much for your time.
All
We must say a very big thank you to Mr. Alexander at this time. In addition to much of the concerns that he has had, I just want to make a general observation. I think last week's presentation, we still had certain issues with a certain group. I wouldn't know what I still group to, but my advice basically is we need to be sure basically that we are actually prepared to proceed with presentations before the time so that everybody is actually on the same page. But let's quickly do our pictures now before we take maybe one or two other questions and see how we can respond to them. If everyone can have their videos on, that will be very kind of you, so that we can take pictures and do a screenshot. I think, okay, everyone, there are still a few persons who haven't turned on their videos. It won't take us more than 60 seconds if all our videos are on. All right, well, I would advise that maybe we just proceed to do the pictures while people are deciding whether to turn on their videos or not. So very quickly, I'm about to take one or two screenshots. All right then, so thank you so much. So unfortunately, we are not able to take feedback on question 3 and 4 to another meeting. I hope that by next week, we might be able to see how we can still address some of the unfinished business flowing or emanating out of this week's presentation. But like I was initially saying, it would be great to see how we can be prompt in ensuring that we have our slides up. If you need any support from any of the moderators, please feel free to reach out so that sharing of screen would not be a challenge in any way. Yeah. So in the absence of any other contribution, I think this is a very good time for us to close today's session. See all of you next week, and we'll reach out on the WhatsApp platform with further information for the tasks ahead. Thank you very much. Do have a very wonderful evening ahead. Thank you.
You too, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.